Absolutely. Hi, folks. This is Dr. Kat Schreier, your host for The Water Show of the Water Citizen Media Foundation. And I'm here with Deon from Miller Coors. And we actually just met last night at the opening reception for the Water Summit here in Milwaukee. This is one of our favorite events. We've been here since 2012. Rich Musin, of course, you'll be able to see his introduction and just the enthusiasm for water as making Milwaukee a real water hub, a water center for innovation and technology, and bringing together not only waterpreneurs, but also major industry leaders and what they've been doing with water. Now, one of the things that we think about with Milwaukee, of course, is brewing and beer. And so having Miller Coors here is
welcome to
really
Brew City.
A part of it. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, how long have you lived in Milwaukee?
10 years now.
10 years. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so tell us a little bit about Miller Coors and the history of this company, because it's I actually used to live in Golden, Colorado, just down the street from the second largest brewery in Golden, the other one being your sister, you're now a member of the family here, Coors. So tell us about Miller Coors.
So Miller Coors has come together as a joint venture in 2008 with Miller Brewing Company, which was started over 160 years ago here in Milwaukee.
Yeah, so that was here locally.
Frederick Miller, locally here, and then Coors Brewing Company out in Colorado, in Golden. That was started by Adolph Coors many years ago as well, hundreds of years. So the two have come together. So obviously there's a lot of heritage in either company and now both companies, and we make fantastic brands.
Founders from similar parts of Germany, or where were they from?
They were from Germany, but I'm not sure where in Germany. Yeah.
I've actually done some work on back in my days as a government major at Dartmouth. Millennium ago, looking at the different parts, the different Germanys. Many, very different from pressure, very different. And, this whole idea of one Germany and two Germanys and what that's done for Europe. But so here we have two very different brewing companies, and just the cultures in the two companies. Coors, we're up in the mountains, we're this pure Rocky Mountain water and our beer, and here we got down the Great Lakes we've got Miller. Was there a difference in the culture and the ideas about water, and how did that merger work?
I think in terms of cultures, obviously Coors is a family-owned business, and Miller was publicly listed. So there was a difference, some differences in culture coming in as a joint venture, but I can tell you that both companies and the heritage, and the thing about beer is most of it, all of it, 95% of what's in beer is water. And so it's very important, and from both Coors and a Miller perspective, the quality of your water, and really great water makes great beer, or great quality water makes great quality beer. And that's why in Golden, Colorado, you've got the Rocky Mountain fresh water, which is really good quality water. And here in Milwaukee, you have Michigan Lake, which is really good quality water. So I guess that's why Adolph and Frederick landed where they landed, because of the water supply and the quality of the water.
One part of the story behind the Water Council is sort of this idea that a lot of the breweries, a lot of the tanneries, a lot of the high water use industries left Milwaukee at one point. And what was left behind was all these great companies like Badger and A.O. Smith that are masters at dealing with water, that were developed in part, the technologies developed in part for the brewing industry. Now you guys did not leave. So
no, we didn't. We don't intend to.
Right. So, how has the Brew City? How has the makeup of the economy of the city and the different perspectives on the uses of water? How has that shifted, and how has Miller Coors shifted with that?
That's a tough question. So, in terms of
we don't do fluff. We don't do fluff.
You don't do fluff. Look, I mean, the economy from a manufacturing point of view, yeah, a lot of companies have left. We've always, this is where our roots are, and we've been adamant, and we've recently announced as well with the potential changes with AB InBev and SAB Miller that we are here to stay, both in Golden and here in Milwaukee. So, you know, we have an economy that in many respects is thriving. It's a beer economy in many respects. So people drink and like a lot of, drink our beers here in Milwaukee. And so I guess that's helped us a lot, and it's kept the brewery here vibrant, and we employ a lot of people in our breweries, over 450 people here in Milwaukee, just at the brewery alone. And we've got an offshoot, if you want, of our corporate office here, where there's a lot of people working from the Milwaukee offices as well.
Now, there's been throughout the beer industry, and to some extent with the other aspects of alcoholic beverages. I mean, there's been that whole shift of what BIER, it's the Environmental Roundtable, Brewing Industry Environmental Roundtable, I think it's called, that all the shifts that are occurring within the industry in dealing with water, not only the water that's in the bottle, but how the bottles are washed, and how the wastewater is handled before it's introduced back into the environment. And what's your perspective on the sort of the greening of beer?
Well, we're very serious about that. So we we have some breweries like in California, Southern California, and in Texas that are in water scarce areas. We're fortunate here in Milwaukee, but despite the abundance of water here in Milwaukee, we've adopted quite challenging targets around the amount of water we consume per unit of beer. And we're very proud to have probably among the most efficient breweries in the world from a water consumption perspective. We continue to work on water consumption. So our employees from shop floor throughout the organization are focused on how they can reduce water consumption. In 2008, when we went into the joint venture, we were using in excess of 4 gallons of water per gallon of beer. And we're now down to the very low threes. And by 2020, we'll be below 3 or around 3. So we continue to measure how much water we use, and we continue to look at opportunities to reduce our consumption. On the wastewater side, all our breweries treat their water as a minimum to potable water that we can put back into the streams. But we also reuse some of that water, not necessarily in the product because there's perceptions around that, but reuse it for, cleaning floors, secondary uses of water that doesn't get into direct contact with the product. So a lot of focus around greening, a lot of focus around water reduction on an ongoing basis.
The coolest tours that we've ever been on, we're going to have to get our camera in here sometime. I went to Colorado State for my PhD, and they had one of the just state-of-the-art wastewater treatment for breweries, because it was the New Belgium Fat Tire, folks were bringing Fat Tire, had started in a garage, and they would take their wastewater, just put it in the city system, and they were doing, it's really pretty aggressive waste from here. And it was doing some horrible things to the city system. And so the fees and the fines combined, they said, for that amount of money, we could go hire some of the best people in South America who do these amazing things with beer treatment, and created this very state-of-the-art system. So if you ever get out to Fort Collins, you definitely ought to go. If you get to Fort Collins, definitely go on this tour. But I wanted to go back to something you brought up about this idea of putting wastewater into the bottle. And so, as you know, Milwaukee is one of 2 areas where people have actually taken, or that we know of, where people have taken treated wastewater. And we actually helped to put together the Thera here in Milwaukee with the folks in Oregon, and they had a smackdown of tasting with at WEF last year at the Water Environment Federation's annual conference out there. So, but has that opened up conversations within the industry of, is there a possibility that maybe someday people will be open to the idea of potable reuse? in beer?
Hopefully, someday. It's all about perception, right? We know scientifically, that you can clarify the water to make it drinkable, and so we know that it can happen. But and we know that other brewers have done some of that. Our philosophy has been we're not going to stay away from that for now until perceptions change. And
Right. Well, and we'll want to jump into that session because I know Maureen Stapleton from San Diego, which is one of the places that is starting to do potable reuse, is speaking. Just final question on as far as the Water Council, the Global Water Center, and particularly brew and the kinds of technologies. There's been. I mean, the water industry often does not have the money put into new technology and testing new technology, and has often been able to piggyback off of higher use industries, oil and gas, manufacturing and whatnot, where they do the heavy lifting of trying to put the money into research that then can be used by the water and wastewater industry. Where do you see opportunities in something like brew for technologies that could have applications in either water and wastewater or in brewing? That are you guys getting involved like Veolia, like some of the other, or like A.O. Smith, in developing challenges for new treatment technologies that can also be used by water and wastewater?
Well, not directly involved. We get involved insofar as we're looking for the technology, and we've actually partnered with one of the companies at the Water Council to put in technology in our Fort Worth brewery for the incoming treatment of water to get our micro loading, because in Fort Worth, Texas, the incoming water has a variable micro loading. So we've put in their technology, and we continue to look for technology that will help us. Obviously, things like meters. We meter water throughout our breweries.
Yeah.
And any technologies that will help us reduce consumption or improve the micro quality of our water, we will definitely use. And
do you have your own in-house incubator program for?
No, we don't.
No. Or working with universities?
We'll work through the Water Council and
Nice.
its affiliates, yeah.
Good. Well, this is great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to
Thanks,
speak with us, and thank you for joining us for this. Please join us for all of the one-on-ones and video clips and everything from the Water Council's Water Summit here in Milwaukee. Watch the whole playlist, and if you're watching this anywhere other than thewatershow.org, please do jump on over there. You have a place to have some dialogue and download some information, and join our sponsors, who are all companies from the brew, the business research and entrepreneurship in Wisconsin companies, really exciting companies. So be sure to check out those sponsors, and thanks so much for being here.